watching Dante Boxing Nation.
Dante's Boxing Nation, what's going on, guys? Man, I'm telling you right now, and I mean this, I'm serious when I say this. I would pay money right now to see what's going on inside of Jermall Charlo's head. And I mean that seriously. Because the decisions he makes, the things that he says in interviews, I don't understand. It's really confusing. So you guys have already heard Jermall Charlo, he just announced that he's adding Deontay Wilder's former trainer, Mark Breland, to his stable. Now, it's common for fighters to hire new trainers, bring new guys into the stable. But usually, fighters do it for a reason. Maybe they're not getting the results that they want in the ring. Maybe they lost a fight and felt that they didn't have the right game plan and they didn't have the right trainers helping them. Maybe their next opponent is the most dangerous fighter that they've ever faced, and they feel they need a dream team to guarantee a win. But that's not the case in this situation. Jermall Charlo is not involved in the biggest fight of his life, the biggest fight of his career. He's not coming off of a loss where he has to avenge a loss like his brother had to do before. He's fighting against Fernando Montiel, a man who's far from being a Demetrius Andrade or a David Benavidez. Speaking of David Benavidez, that's what I was talking about when I said he does interviews. Jermall does. He does interviews, and I just don't understand what he's talking about when he does these interviews, because it's like going on a roller coaster. When he did his interview with Brian Custer, 1 minute it sounded like he was fighting David Benavidez for sure, hands down. Matter of fact, Brian even asked him the question. He said, "So will you fight David Benavidez?" He said, "Yeah, I'm going to fight him. Yeah, the fight is going to happen." He said, "I'm going to knock him out. You know, he gets hit too easy. I'm a lion, etc., etc., etc." And he had all of us thinking the fight was going to happen for sure. It's not the fact that he's fighting against Fernando Montiel right now. It's the fact that he's fighting against this guy in the middleweight division. And now it's already been reported that David Benavidez already has an opponent for August, which means we're not going to see a Charlo versus Benavidez fight this year. Matter of fact, I don't think we're really going to see it at all. To me, it makes no sense that Jermall Charlo, he made it sound like he was definitely going to fight David Benavidez. Not next. We already knew Charlo wasn't going to fight against David Benavidez next. But once again, the fact that after he said all of those things in an interview, how he's going to knock him out and he's definitely going to fight him, then he starts saying things like, I'd rather fight Demetrius Andrade. And, I'm not even a natural middleweight, really, and et cetera, et cetera. Why do I have to risk my health to go up to 168? The whole thing is, if Jermall would have never said these things, no one would be asking him to fight against David Benavidez. He was the one that put that pressure on himself. So with that being said, going back to Charlo hiring Mark Breland, since we know he didn't do this for the reasons I said before, to me, there's really only one reason he could do this. I mean, it's more than obvious he doesn't feel that Mark Breland had something to do with cheating going on when Deontay Wilder lost to Tyson Fury. He doesn't feel there was any cheating at all. In fact, Jermall Charlo, he's actually sympathizing with Mark Breland getting fired by Deontay Wilder. And at the same time, it comes off as he's sending a message to Deontay Wilder by hiring Mark Breland. Usually when a fighter is hiring a trainer, a new trainer, it's because at that time, he needs that trainer more than the trainer needs him. But this is simply a case where Mark Breland needed Jermall Charlo way more than Jermall needed him. So Jermall Charlo, man, he's coming off as extremely unpredictable right now. I don't know what to expect from him. And speaking of not knowing what to expect, I'm going to keep telling you guys this. If Jermall Charlo doesn't fight Demetrius Andrade or David Benavidez soon, he is going to be like a needle in a haystack, hard to find. You know, last time I said he needs to fight either Benavidez or he needs to do this, there were some fans in the comment section and they was like, that's unfair. Why does the black guy always have to do way more? You know, he should be able to do the same thing that Canelo or Teofimo is doing. And that's been my point since day one. Jermall is about to find out really soon that he is not going to get the reception. And when I say the reception, I'm talking about from old media. He ain't going to have Chris Mannix and Max Kellerman on ESPN telling the boxing world, you know, you guys need to shut up because Jermall Charlo, he can do whatever he wants to do. Jermall calls the shots. He ain't going to say that about nobody on the coincidental list. You know, guys, Floyd Mayweather, he's accomplished so much in the sport of boxing. A lot of fans overlook his win over Oscar De La Hoya. Everyone knows the Oscar De La Hoya win is what made him a superstar, but what people don't realize is Oscar De La Hoya, or Floyd Mayweather rather, he had to do the exact things that I'm telling you black fighters often have to do to get their credit. He had to fight a guy that had almost every single advantage over Floyd Mayweather. Oscar De La Hoya was 20 pounds bigger than Floyd Mayweather the night of the fight. He actually requested for the fight to be at 154 when Floyd Mayweather had just moved up to 147. So Floyd had already moved up 5 weight classes. Oscar purposely had the fight at 154 to have an even bigger weight advantage over him. Oscar, he got to choose the gloves that Floyd Mayweather wears, not the gloves that he wears. He even got to choose Floyd Mayweather's gloves. He got to choose everything, the ring size, every single advantage, it was towards Oscar De La Hoya. All of the advantages were in his favor. And Floyd Mayweather still beat him. Not to mention, Oscar De La Hoya was actually younger than Floyd Mayweather was when he beat Canelo Alvarez. Just think about that for a second. So it wasn't just given to Floyd Mayweather. He had to do extra to be where he is today. And you know, speaking of Floyd Mayweather having to move up so many weight classes just to get the biggest fight of his career, at least the fight that catapulted him into superstar status. Remember, Floyd had to move up 5 weight classes. He had to move up 5 weight classes to fight against Oscar De La Hoya. Jermall Charlo is a natural middleweight. It should be a lot easier for him to move up to 168 and fight against David Benavidez, because that would only be the 3rd weight class that he's moving up to versus 5 weight classes Floyd had to move up to, with once again being at a 20-pound deficit, a 20-pound disadvantage. I mean, don't get me wrong, you're definitely going to be at a disadvantage when you're moving up in weight, regardless. But my only point is Jermall Charlo will be closer in weight to a David Benavidez than Floyd Mayweather was to an Oscar De La Hoya or a Canelo Alvarez. And once again, Jermall, he has 2 options. He doesn't have to fight David right now. He already said that he would rather fight Demetrius Andrade. But he's got to fight one of those guys. And it's not all Jermall's fault, because we already know he's been chasing Canelo Alvarez and Jermall Charlo. At least he's been chasing Canelo for 6 years. And we know Gennady Golovkin, he does not want the fight at all. On top of that, Jaime Munguia is Jermall Charlo's #1 contender, but even Jaime Munguia doesn't want to fight for a title. He has a title shot and he's rejecting the title shot. In fact, Jaime Munguia is the #1 contender for Andrade's belt and Jermall Charlo's belt. But he's talking about how he wants to fight Golovkin, and now he's supposed to be fighting against Selecki Majes. So it's not all of Jermall Charlo's fault, but once again, if you can't get the guys you want to fight you in the ring, then that means you have to go after the guys that are coming after you. I mean, honestly, the whole situation with Andrade and David Benavidez and, of course, Jermall Charlo being accused of avoiding these guys, it sounds a lot like the situation Jermall Charlo had with Julian J-Rock Williams. J-Rock had been calling out Jermall for almost, 2 years almost? It was over a year, I know it for sure, over a year. And a lot of people were accusing Jermall of not wanting to fight him, ducking him. All of a sudden, he fought him. He ended up knocking him out. So there's a very good chance the same thing may play out with either Demetrius Andrade or David Benavidez, where he's going to decide to get in the ring with them, and it's going to be a really, really good fight. That's all I got for now, guys. I'm on to the next one.
An important message from Youth Fountain Laboratory, makers of VasoFlux and VasoFlux for Men. If you're over the age of 35 and over the years you've eaten pizza, dairy foods, deli meats, or meats with fat, you are likely to have some degree of plaque buildup in your veins and arteries. This increases your risk of suffering a stroke or heart attack exponentially, and no one wants such a catastrophic event to occur. Introducing Plaque Out. Plaque Out is made of all natural ingredients proven to help dissolve clots in the blood, remove calcium deposits and plaque from the walls of veins and arteries, improve viscosity of the blood, improve elasticity of the veins and arteries, treat varicose veins, and prevent the reoccurrence of plaque buildup. For more information, visit Youth Fountain Laboratory at youthfountainlab.com or call 1-800-853-7856. And remember, to help unclog veins and arteries, get the plaque out.
Fellas, I've got some great news for you. If you've lost your hair or have a receding hairline, the time has come when you can finally get your hairline back through a process called scalp micropigmentation. So here's how it works. It's a hair tattoo that replicates the look of your hair follicles when you have fully shaved it down. So to get this hookup, make sure you follow and contact my man Scalp Carolinas on Instagram. Now check this out, guys. If you're looking to repair eczema scars, burns and bruises, dark spots and blemishes, then this right here is the perfect product for you guys. It's called Elodiki Face and Body Oil. Athletes and top-ranking boxers, they're also using it after training to reduce swelling, inflammation, and to ease the pain. So get yours today. Go to elodiki.com, like them on Facebook, and follow them on Instagram.